Hello, guys. Welcome as we will be wrapping up the day in Abu Dhabi. For a while, it looked like we might be sort of on the schedule for a very late start compared to their usual order of play. That's mostly because of Beatriz Haddad-Maia and Magdalinet, who basically after 2 hours and 50 minutes, they were going into the deciding set. Thankfully, that was a bit shorter. And then Sorana Kipstea actually demolishes Maria Sakkari 6-2, 6-1. So that kind of helped. And right now we are starting this at around 8:30 local time, so still not that late. Anyway, this is of course going to be Emma Raducanu against Ons Jabeur. I think a very interesting matchup. Ons being the second seed for this tournament, but of course she hasn't been doing that well this year. She actually still has just two matches at the Australian Open, beating Yulia Starodubtseva and then losing to Mira Andreeva. And losing is an understatement. She only won two games in that match and was eliminated in like under an hour, I think, maybe even. So actually, it's Emma Raducanu who is in better match rhythm, has more match practice, which is pretty wild. Let's be honest, because Emma, for the past couple of seasons, she hasn't been getting too many matches in, and usually she is the player who is short on rhythm. Usually she is the player who is a little short on time on court. So that's a different position for Emma to find herself in. And John in the chat right now says that that he is going Emma in three, and I would second that. I think Emma is actually the favorite in this match. Yeah, I do think that so far this year we've been seeing her fairly healthy. Of course, there were some issues in the first event coming from the fact that it was just her first matches, right? And there was a very physical battle with Alina Svitolina, which at the end she definitely was feeling it. But that's fine. Like that's that's normal that you're gonna be feeling it when it's your first match after a while or second match after a while. Then the Australian Open, she gets a bit of a stomach bug, but she's still fighting in that second round against Yafan Wang. She almost takes her down, despite this being a very physical match. I don't think she would have gone further anyway, having Kim Wen-Zhang in the third round. Well, maybe if she was fully fit at that event. But then she arrives in Abu Dhabi and she actually beats Mari Buskova fairly easily as well. So I do have pretty high hopes for Raducanu in this match. I would be surprised if she goes down easily. Hopefully, there's no more health issues, and Ons could really use a win. Needless to say, having just two matches in 2024, and just not being in the best rhythm yet, at least. And this is the second round, of course, in Abu Dhabi. We ended the day with this match, and we'll see how it goes. I think the next match for either of these players is Beatriz Haddad-Maia in the quarterfinals. So a pretty exciting matchup anyway for like either of these coming through. Emma probably a big physical test as Haddad-Maia tends to be. Jabeur Haddad-Maia would also be a pretty cracking matchup. So in that case, I'm excited about either potential quarterfinal. Anyway, we are starting with a missed return from Ons, but then she is in the next point and she manages to find this nice angle on the forehand cross to make Raducanu lose her balance a bit. I hear that we might be having Nick on as well later, like in about an hour. But for about an hour, you should be stuck with me. Let's just get into it. And it's this match has been priced like very evenly by the bookies, which I think is entirely fair. To me, as I said earlier, I think maybe even Raducanu is a small favorite, but it is kind of reliant on her maintaining that high level of intensity without breaking down, which has been a bit of a fairy tale the last couple of years, but hopefully this year is just very different and we're gonna get her on the tour sort of for a whole duration of the season, and we're finally gonna like really see what she can do with that, because we've never really had that full season on the tour with her. So that would be quite exciting, I think, to get it for the first time. Already a pretty fun point as Jabeur tries to slice approach to the net. I think she actually got what she wanted as well with that forehand volley. It was fairly simple, but she misses it, so it's 30-15 Raducanu. Ons, of course, definitely a player who can use all court tactics and all types of variety. Is that particularly strong against Raducanu? Probably not, but it's still a solid play nonetheless. I think she definitely could have won that point. And now a great +1 forehand from Emma as well. She adds a lot of wrist power to this, and she gets the 40-15 as a reward. Presumably, if she can, just lock up a lot of these early +1 forehand points, that would also be, of course, a big boost to her chances. But the same goes for Ons, really. So it's nothing that insane. When it comes to this matchup, we haven't really seen it. I mean, they've actually played once, but it was an exhibition, and in fact, it was in Abu Dhabi. So that makes it quite okay. Now it's definitely a bit of like early nerves for both players, as Raducanu can't quite control this forehand drop shot. Was also a very good opening. Like, she didn't even have to play it that perfectly, but anyway, it's still 40-30. But they actually played in an exhibition here, let's say a little over a year ago, and Ons won in 3 sets, but the third set was a deciding tiebreak. I mean, tiebreak to 10 points. I don't know if that's actually, of any relevance, given it was an EXO, given it the third set was played in a different format, and just how much has been happening, especially in Raducanu's career since. Because Jabeur, she might not be the most consistent, but I mean, she still gets a few great runs every year and keeps herself in the top, right? At the top of the sport. But of course, for Raducanu, it's been a lot more up and down and patchy. Some of that due to her own inability to produce, let's say, week in week out. Some of that, of course, due to the injuries. Maybe also some mess with the coaching teams and etc. But I don't think this exhibition from 2022 is any relevant. If anything, it just tells us that this should be pretty close. And that's going to be a bit of a missed opportunity already for Emma if she can not clinch this game. She was 40-15 up. She misses that forehand dropper. Then she misses a forehand that was, well, if not a put away, then probably a point-winning shot. And now she commits another forehand unforced error. So it's pretty much been 3 in a row, because that drop shot in the stats would still be counted as a forehand unforced error if we just, not separate drop shots and ground strokes in this regard. So now let's see if she can produce anything on this break point and finds. Okay, I mean, she produces a double fault. That's something, I can't say that she didn't produce anything. But yeah, from 40-15 up, and Raducanu gets broken the opening game with just a long patch of errors, because that was kind of it. The drop shot, the 2 forehands, and now the double fault. So yeah, all in all, not a perfect start for her, even though at 40-15, that was looking like a nice game, actually. Hi, Terry. Terry is going for Ons, which, as I said earlier, I don't think there's a wrong prediction per se in this match. There's definitely a lot of uncertainty with Jabeur, and the fact that it's just her third match of this year. But also, usually there's going to be a lot of uncertainty with Raducanu and her physical state, her maybe sometimes even her mental state. So I don't think there's a right or wrong prediction in this match, really. So okay. Raducanu barely gets that return back, and Ons actually could have found herself in a pretty uncomfortable position, but well, she's got really good hands, and she manages to just slice the ball away for a winner. I think this could have been pretty dangerous for some players, but she manages to handle it very well. Raducanu is on the floor, but she wins the point. She fell after winning after hitting the winning shot. Ons had a lot of space with this forehand approach, with this forehand +1 shot. Doesn't really hit it too well. Raducanu passes her forehand cross and falls down. I think, it's that right leg that slipped. But she looks fine, as we're already into the next point. mostly going forehands cross. Ons seems to have the better angles for sure, and she wins the point as well. Yeah, great combination here. There was one brief moment where maybe when she could have fallen into some trouble in this rally when Raducanu hit down the line and she forced her to slice, but then the ball was really deep and low at Emma's feet. And that last combination, forehand cross, then switching to down the line was pretty elite. And now she also hits an ace to go 40-15 up. And of course, she's won the last 7 out of 8 points, I suppose. So a lot of momentum on her side at the moment for sure. Raducanu tries to attack the second serve, but doesn't really bring her any big results. So we're still rallying. On's trying to go back and down the line now, but it's completely mistimed, but it's still 40-30. That said, of course, Raducanu was also 40-15 in her previous service game and managed to lose it. But that will be to love Jabeur with another 3-point on serve. This time Raducanu did get a racket on it, but can't quite play it into the court. So yeah, I mean, after 9 minutes, on Jabeur, a break up. Still early days, but certainly she has built up a bit of a lead. Does Emma's game look similar to before the surgeries? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't think we've really had any major playstyle changes for Raducanu. Like if you throw her into the U.S. Open final from 2 and something years ago, I think it's pretty much the same player when it comes to the tactical approach and that U.S. Open was mostly about her just getting fired up, right, for the whole duration of it, really, and maybe a fairly comfortable draw as well, but also the quality at which she was playing. But I think largely it's that same play style that she was pulling off then. This seems to be an easier game for her right now, though. Just get on the board, and Jabeur missing on that forehand block return kinda seals the deal, it would seem. Just barely out that first serve. But yeah, she gets it done quickly here. This is the first time she also looked pretty comfortable hitting that forehand through the Jabeur slice, which of course will be pretty relevant in this match for sure. She will be forced to hit through that a lot. So let's see. But she is on the board after blowing the opening game of the match. She's of course still behind the break, but she managed to get herself there. Yeah, and as I said, this is the last match in Abu Dhabi today. Daria Kasatkina beat Ashlyn Kruger. Beatriz Haddad-Maia won against Magdalinet in that match, which could have gone 4 hours if the third set was up to the standard of the previous two. And also, of course, Sorana Kirsta beating Maria Sakkari. They lost just 3 games. That was pretty huge. There's also WT tennis going on in Cluj right now. ATP soon back in action. Right now, actually no singles, but soon Dallas, Cordoba, Marseille also. Soon they're going to be playing. So still lots to come tonight. I kind of like this sort of this setup that we have this week, where the challengers are early in the day, because you have Bernie, of course, in Australia. That's like perhaps rather late in the night for me rather than early in the day. But then you also have Chennai and Nottingham. Nottingham is like at the verge, like basically finishing up right now. And then the challengers are done sort of midday, let's say, or let's say early evening for me. And then you can sort of just smoothly transition into Dallas. The last match is in Marseille and Cordoba. It's a very clear sort of system where I know what I'm watching instead of watching 5 events at the same time. So for my time zone, at least, it's pretty nice. Abu Dhabi, I think this is pretty much the first. Yeah, I think this is the first match that I watched so far this week. I mean, I saw some of Haddad Maya against Linette because it was just on TV while I was eating dinner or something like that. But I wasn't honestly paying attention to it that closely. So yeah, I believe this is actually the first one that I'm watching sort of properly with all the ATP and challenger action this week. I think that's out, yeah. 15-all now in the Jabeur 2-1 game. Raducanu again looking to attack that second serve of Jabeur and getting decent results this time. Big swing with the backhand, and Ons can't quite put the third shot over the net. So 15-30 and a small opportunity opening up for the Brit. Not finding too many first serves right now, Ons, and she's kind of frustrated about it, especially as Emma is attacking that second serve. But that's some really good timing now on the backhand down the line. Raducanu thinking she has once again put Jabeur into at least a troublesome position, but actually no, she just very smoothly takes it up the line and manages to solve all of that with one shot. And now taking advantage of what the serve built up for her as well with the forehand cross-court angle. Yeah, I mean, this game for Ons has been pretty interesting. I mean, literally, Raducanu is throwing returns at her, and she just takes the first shot after the serve so early, and she manages to win the next 3 points like that. I mean, here she also needed to hit a couple more, but it was pretty much the same story. So from 15-30, she pretty much handled that all with no fuss, and now she's 3-1 up after 16 minutes. Terry says that he loved Emma at the US Open, but she's not done anything exciting since, which is not untrue. I'm a weird tennis fan, and I don't really care about wins. I mostly get about my viewing excitement and the eye test, essentially. So I don't really care about wins, which is why I never really left the hype train. I do think that if we get her for a full season, she's getting a few good runs, and I'm not saying a Grand Slam title again, although it's also not outside of her range, but that's obviously more on the sort of unrealistic side rather than something that we can easily expect from her this year. However, in the future, I think this avenue is still very open for her. If she can just be a more permanent part of the WTA Tour circuit. Does she have a better shot at winning a slam than Jabeur? That's an interesting question. That I just came up with. That's not from the chat, by the way. Um, I guess the sensible option is definitely ons, right? But I feel like you would find a few people who would have actually said Emma. Ons has made 3 finals, of course, in recent years, which is absolutely huge. But at the same time, she has kind of faltered the last time she had an opportunity. So I guess that's what makes it a thing at all. That's what makes this a discussion even. And she's also much older, of course. The good thing for Raducanu is that it looks like the next game is going to be fairly smooth for her as well. I think especially that +1 forehand inside in at love 15. That was the key moment, really. Lots of just short +1 play this match so far, but that's how both women play, I suppose. Especially with the hand skills of Ons and how early she can take the ball. Also redirecting it of these big returns from Raducanu. Raducanu just definitely being a bit of an attacking bot, if you may. We are going to see a lot of quick action here for sure. It's not Beatriz Haddad Maya Magdalinet. That's not to say that we haven't had any longer rallies, though. We get one now, and I think Ons is challenging the Raducanu backhand slice. Let's see if it was in. It was not, so she is absolutely right about that. We have the real bounce technology here. Still one more game point for Raducanu. And that will be a quick 1-2 punch for Jabeur, so no, definitely this game is going to last at least 2 more points, obviously, since we are at deuce. But yeah, just a very deep return, basically on the line. And Ons is very quick to take this forehand cross anytime she sees it, basically, in this match so far. And yeah, there's not much you can do with the timing advantage that she built up with that return. So the longer rally at 40-15 actually ended up being quite crucial in allowing us to stay in the match and in the game. And now let's see if Raducanu can hold under pressure. Since 1-4, 2 breaks, that would already be a pretty big deficit to have to climb out of. And she misses that forehand cross as well. Ons is probably favored in the shorter exchanges so far, but she's also been winning the longer ones, and it's tough to find Raducanu and Avenue can really shine so far in this match. Even though, of course, if she held from 40-15 in the first game, we would be having a bit of a different outlook. She gets that forehand error here from Jabeur. I don't know if it's forced or unforced, that's debatable, but a good serve and then an early +1 forehand. I would say it's still unforced, but definitely a little bit of pressure coming on Jabeur, and she saves the breakpoint to avoid going down 1-4. Not too much rhythm on the first serve now either, and that's also, especially on this deuce side, and that's also, of course, not going to be easy to live with, exactly as Jabeur is the livelier, the more, let's say, vigorous player in this forehand exchange. She manages to get better depth, better timing on it, and it's Raducanu who falters first. I guess trying to get out of it, trying to bail out of it with this direction change. But yeah, another breakpoint for 4-1 up. I think we have a let now. Jabeur has her moving, but Raducanu recovers and wins the point as well. That's a bit of an opportunity missed for sure for Jabeur. After the return, especially, she built up a bit of a positional advantage. Raducanu finds this forehand squash shot, which actually got some very nice angle on it, and I guess that made it a bit tricky for Ons to capitalize on having that lead in the point. But certainly, that was a moment where after that return, she could have gotten a bit more of that point. I guess that's another narrowly missed first serve on that deuce side from Raducanu. I think it's at least 3 or 4 right now that she's missed on that side. And of course, that's putting her in trouble right away, exactly as Jabeur is just there with another return 1-2 punch. Pretty clinical. After the return, she doesn't go for broke here, but just for a good forehand inside out angle that Raducanu has no shot of getting to anyway. So third breakpoint already. Third breakpoint to go 4-1 double break up for the second seed. And again, we are in a rally. The Raducanu first serve, even when it's getting in, not doing much damage. Jabeur invites her into the net with this short slice. Emma can't quite get into comfortable position, and she misses the slice. So it's 4-1 Jabeur now with 2 breakpoints. What is happening with Sakari? I fear that train left a long time ago and ain't coming back. Yeah, I was just looking. I was just looking at some results recently, and I was basically like looking at 2021 or something like that slams, and I was just remembering how good she was at the slams, and that's wild that she's not right now. But yeah, I mean, what is happening with her? Is her losing that dominantly to Kirstea something that we don't expect? Maybe, sort of, but at the same time, it's Sakari, right? So I'm sorry to her, but like, yeah, I'm kind of used to it by now. And of course, the Australian Open was a massive disappointment. The way she was so good at the United Cup, and yeah, then she doesn't follow it up at all. She loses to a player that in faster conditions she should be beating 9 times out of 10 at least. So I think that especially was a bit of a disappointment. Keane says this is another loss that Blocks should be winning, I think. I mean, he's still on serve in the third. And also, like, he was getting dominated in the first set, He's lucky to be in the third set, so I don't know if he should be winning this, really. Well, dominated maybe in the regular parts of the set. Like, he was actually the one who had some chances, but when it comes to, like, the patterns and how Richard was always in control of the baseline, So it would be a little disappointing, maybe, given that you think that this is a decent, workable draw in Nottingham, but it will take time. Any win like this that he can produce, sort of in a tough scenario, that's gonna help, and perhaps even any loss that's gonna help him in the future, right? Just because he needs to grab that experience somewhere. Raducanu is a bit terrifying here with that backhand return, but Oz says no. She just fires an ace to go 30-15 up. And another ace to go 40-15 up. Emma is challenging, but I do think that it was in. We'll see how my eye is, although the stream that I'm watching on is not of particularly high quality, so I can always put it down to that, just say, yeah, it's the stream quality. But even with the stream quality, that wasn't just nowhere close to being out. So it is 2 aces in a row for Jabeur. Will it be the third? Nope. However, Raducanu just barely gets her racket on the ball, as again, Ons just served on the line. So 5-1 Jabeur and 3 pretty great serves in a row. 28 minutes. It feels pretty obvious that this set has escaped Raducanu quite quickly. Um, can we be hopeful for a bit of a comeback later on? Who knows? But I mean, certainly Ons has started this pretty well, and she's like really dominating the shorter points, getting a lot more out of her serve, out of the +1 shots, getting a lot more even out of, well, Emma is hitting some good second serve returns, but she's able to create something as well in return, and it's really a bit of an exercise in short rallies from Jabeur. Does Emma lack power? Not really. I mean, she does have a lot of timing, like ability, and that's what gets pace on her ground strokes. Like it's definitely not power, like per se. It's not a Sabalenka type of ground stroke, but I think her timing sort of allows her to overcome a lot of potential issues from that. It's kind of like a Qin Zhang playstyle to me, where you don't actually have that much muscle mass, you don't actually have that much, I don't know, your arm isn't exactly, the main perpetrator behind the powerful shots you produce. It's rather more so your ability to time the ball early, and your power comes from that. Your pace maybe more so than your power comes from that, rather than from um, just having a huge arm and then blasting the ball like that. But yeah, I mean, such players can definitely struggle when someone just has higher, bigger weight of shot, I guess, which is basically the Zheng Sabalenka matchup, for example. So sometimes it could result in losses, but I don't think it's a main issue really. Anyway, quick game for Raducanu, 5-2. Hamish Stewart, he played Carl Edmund in the recent ITF final, so I do know him a little bit, but I didn't watch the match against Jab today. So I can't really say I know his game all that much. I think in the quarters he's gonna play against Pechi Pericard, so I know Keen is also gonna be watching that match. If it goes 3 sets, Nick will join. If it doesn't go free, yeah, I'd rather we see a competitive match. If it's 2 or 3, who knows? But hopefully Nick will also get a chance to join. However, so far, Ozjaber 5-2, it hasn't been particularly competitive. Oh, and Blocks has just broken in the third set. It's good for him if he wins today. He's gonna get a the day off because he is kind of tired at the moment. But that's such an exciting section right now as well. He plays Shelby in the quarters if he wins today, and then in the semis he could play Pechi Pericard again, whom he just defeated in Koblenz in a very high quality 7-6 in the third match. Or I would say from his side it was high quality because Pechi Pericard had patches where his baseline game was just absurdly poor. But this week, to his credit, I mean, he's kind of hitting like in Antwerp last year, where actually the ground game holds up, which isn't often the case for him, I guess. But yeah, anyway, otherwise, we've also had some Cluj results coming in today, of course, on the WTA side. Nothing exceptional, but Sara Errani still winning indoor matches on the WTA Tour. I guess Katie McNally will not be feeling too great about her performance. And of course, we also had Marseille, where also the favorites have been winning, basically. Well, I don't know if Mahat was he definitely was the favorite of Musetti, right? I don't remember what the odds were, but even if the odds would have been other way, of course, he was the favorite. Let's see if Raducanu can fight for a break here. She is really scrambling here and trying to defend, and Ons misses this forehand inside in. That's a little sloppy, so she goes love 30 down. Of course, she has that one break cushion. So it's not a huge deal yet if she loses her serve, but at least it would make things a little tricky in the next game or maybe the next two games. But yeah, needless to say, that was a point she could have won. She pretty much set it up for herself perfectly, and then just missed the kill shot. Now, can Raducanu find this forehand down the line? She can, but she won't be able to get much out of it. I mean, she kind of had Ons on the back foot there and never really took advantage of that. Maybe there was even an opportunity to approach the net after the forehand down the line because the ball was just skidding so low on the surface. It was clear that Ons was going to have to raise it a little bit, lift it up. However, in the end, it's just a point where Ons survives the pressure, withstands the pace coming at her, and eventually finds her opportunity to attack. 11 winners for Jabeur already and just 3 for Raducanu. Again, she is on the back foot though. She tries to slide into her forehand corner, Jabeur, and misses the shot. So 2 breakpoints now for the Brit, and yeah, she might still be in this set. Even when Raducanu plays that deep return, she usually doesn't win the point right away here, but at least, it gives her a neutral position that she can start thinking of, winning one of these longer rallies. At least it's not more just easy, free serve-based points from Ons, but, well, now it's an ace, so she returns to that serve-bot mode that she was in a couple of games ago. But can she find another one on the second breakpoint? Think it's just out. So a second serve now. We know that Raducanu will be looking to attack it. She's already lining up at the baseline. Forehand return is out. So Jabeur has fended off the 2 breakpoints. Back to deuce. 2 points away from the set for the first time. And now she's just 1 point away. Set point up. With another serve that just gives her the point. I mean, Emma had her racket on the ball, but wasn't able to get close to finding the line there. And another first serve of Jabeur. She has Raducanu slicing and tries to go for this drop shot / short slice / slice approach. Who the hell knows? We haven't really seen the end outcome of this shot and what she was trying to pull off because she actually hits the net with it. So another ace down the tee, and it's literally the same serve. Like, it's a little sliced, and it's actually sort of the trajectory is actually towards Raducanu, but she still can't get her racket on it. It's bended in the other way that you would expect, really, but it's still an ace. 7th ace of the first set also for Jabeur. The importance of that has really been unquestionable, and now she loses another point on her second serve as Raducanu fires a forehand return at her. This is the sort of return that she was going for on the first breakpoint in this game, not making it. Jabeur trying to challenge her serve here. I think it was out. I'm also not sure if she's challenging this for a let call or for a first serve or for an ace. I think it might be for a let call. But I think the serve was out anyway. Yeah, it was. So the seconds now. Will she be avoiding the Raducanu forehand now? Yeah. Again, lots of pace coming at the Jabeur forehand from Raducanu's forehand. And wow, that's a great point. That's probably one of the best ones that Emma has played so far in this match. Just keeps hitting with a lot of pace, lots of on the rise, ball striking, two forehands cross, then two down the line. Eventually, she finds a sharp enough angle that even though Jabeur is in that corner, she's unable to get there. So third breakpoint for Raducanu, and again she has a second serve to look at. Net court of Jabeur kinda resets the point. But I think Emma found the line here, did she? Yeah, I think she has. So it's gonna be 5-3 Jabeur, and it's the first break for Raducanu. She manages to recover one of them, but of course it's just part of the job done so far. But yeah, that backhand on the line, that was what won her the rally. It was a pretty strong game from Raducanu. I mean, definitely the best one she's played on return so far. Then again, it will not mean all that much if she loses her serve here, or maybe doesn't break the next game either. So, and well, Jabeur starts off the next one with a pretty great rally herself, forcing Raducanu to slice and then just switching so smoothly to this backhand down the line. Maybe it like taps the net a little bit, but it barely changed the way the ball was moving through the air. So anyway, it's love 15 now. Yeah, and the Raducanu first serve is just not doing damage. It's not really setting up, setting her up for some easy kills. It's not. Jabeur is just able to get it back in play and eventually take over. And that eventually did not even take that long. It was just one or two shots, really. Now there's another short slice from Jabeur, and she definitely got Raducanu fairly uncomfortable, eventually finishing off the point with a drop shot. She kind of like had her on a string there, up and down, going forwards and backwards. First, Raducanu runs up to this short slice, then she has to move away, has to hit the backhand of the half volley, and then before she even recovers, the drop shot is already in. So, two more set points coming up for Jabeur, this time on the Raducanu serve, which, to be fair, has not been a big advantage for Emma. And I think that serve is also out. I mean, she keeps going deuce side for that very sharp angled slider, but she keeps missing it as well. And now she'll have to win it in an extended rally. Backhand cross, she has Jabeur on the move, and she manages to find a pretty decent winner. Going, wrong footing, going in the same direction. That felt very clean, though. One more set point to be saved. This is already the fourth one for Ons. Of course, two were on her serve, now two on Raducanu's serve. Serve is in, but again, not that much of an advantage. However, she manages to line it up and fire an inside-out forehand winner, despite the return being fairly deep. So 4 set points saved now. And this time the first serve actually sets her up for something. I'm not sure how I feel about that direction choice, but anyway, it gets her the point. It was definitely safer, and I guess I guess either was probably gonna get you the point. So anyway, add for Raducanu here, and she might just make Jabeur serve it out another time. Although this time Ons is in control, dictating with the backhand cross. Raducanu is defending, but oh, that was interesting as well. Doesn't even make a run for it here. Maybe she was expecting that shot to fly out from Jabeur because it was hit a little weird. Like it was a half volley type of forehand cross where I think she didn't exactly hit it too clean. Raducanu doesn't even flinch for it, despite being fairly close to it. Anyway, deuce again. So the last two games certainly have been, and also even that fifth game of the set, I think a lot of close games here, even though the pace of play is actually quite fast usually, and there's a lot of shorter exchanges. Another quick point for Raducanu, and one more game point to get it to 4-5. And yeah, just ask the question, just give the chance to Ons to potentially falter or potentially deliver a much better attempt at serving it out than on the first opportunity. But can she take it to 4-5? It's going to have to be on a second serve now. And that's 5-4. Serve out wide, forehand in the other direction. Not much Jabeur could do despite this being a second serve. So 5-4 Jabeur, and we'll see if this comeback actually means something or not. Keen says, "Why did I go to the tour event in Marseille when it's normally challengers that I go to? It was in 2020, so it was way before I started, traveling challengers on like a semi-regular basis, at least, In 2018, I went to one challenger. In 2019, I went to three, maybe. But then I figured that the challengers were much better for me, simply. That experience at Marseille kind of showed me that there's most of the time there's not much of a point traveling to Marseille. It was very unpleasant in the press office as well. I did have time, I did have a lot of fun watching the tennis, sure, but all in all, I just felt like the experiences at challengers were a lot more fulfilling and just a lot more interesting to me than on a regular basis traveling to main tour events. Since then, I've only been in at the two Warsaw 250s, which I basically only did because they were close, right? Like they didn't really cost me anything. Yeah. 4 years ago, Marseille 2020. That was. Is that on Tennis TV? I don't think it's on Tennis TV, right? But WTA TV should work. At least in most countries, since apparently it's blocked in like the states, the United Kingdom, which I learned recently. But anyway, let's see if Raducanu can hold at 5-4. Well, not if Ons is playing like this. A very good 1-2 combo of forehands here, right after the serve as well, and fairly love up. The coach is nodding in approval, and he definitely should be. Is that an ace, really? I mean, Ons is challenging, but I don't think she's right here. No, she actually says no. She actually says to stop the challenge. This second serve was very close to the line, though, and she gets the point with it. 40 love up, so it seems that the previous two games and all the hustle that Raducanu did in order to try to get back into the set, the two set points saved on return, the two set points saved on serve, they might not actually mean that much in the end, as we now have set points 5 and then potentially 6 and 7. Will they be needed, though? Nope. Raducanu setting herself up nicely with this backhand cross return, but then she misses the short ball forehand. So it's 6-4 Jabeur in a very good set that kind of, the last couple of games definitely left us with a bit of a different outlook on it. Like if Jabeur just clinches it at 6-2, it would have been a bit of a perfect set for her. But then Raducanu actually managed to fight back a little bit, and I guess it should give her a bit of a confidence boost going into the second. So maybe the last two games, the last three games were actually irrelevant, because even though Jabeur still wins the set, at least Raducanu has gotten herself into the match a little bit. But we will see if she manages to keep that going in the second set. Yeah, she has not run up to a couple of balls. That's true, Terry. I'm not really sure for the most part what it was about, but there's been a few shots like this. Yeah, usually at the end of a longer rally, which is understandable, but there were also a couple of ones that I was a little surprised by. Nurlan says Raducanu is his new favorite player in the WTA. That's surprising because I think you've been a little bullish on her a few times. Is it because she beat Buskova in the opening round, who I remember is also one of your favorite players? And Blocks did win that first set against Richard, so he is in the quarterfinals in Nottingham. Very good opportunity for him. He's going to play Abdullah Shelbayh, the Jordanian next gen finals contestant. I think that's a very exciting section of the draw, and the winner of that will also be pretty likely to even get to the final, which be a massive achievement for either already. As they're both sort of in a similar spot of looking to get more deep runs in, despite having the amazing peak level. The top half has kind of blown up as well, with Edmund Krajinovic falling out. So it could be a title for one of the youngsters. Why not? Anyway, of course, we are watching the WTA here, and it seems that we're already starting the next set. Of course, Raducanu serving first. She is on the move here. Jabeur finding this forehand cross, and she should win it as well. Yes, indeed, she eventually takes the next point. So it's 30 love up already, and that's gonna be pretty strong. If obviously that's gonna be pretty good for Ons if she can just find this game already and lock up the first break. That's how she started the opening set anyway, of course, from 40-15 up for Raducanu, but she did start it with a break. Got lost there for a moment as I was just looking at a qualifying draw for Kigali in a month, but that's not important right now. John says hi Nurlan in the chat. these two reunited. I think everyone is probably, I know your hearts are warmed up right now by this interaction. If Ons Jabeur was seeing this, she'd definitely smile. But anyway, sorry if I sound like I'm speaking through my nose. By the way, I am. Anyway, Emma Raducanu second serve, and Jabeur tries to take it up the line with the backhand. She misses, so 30 all. She kind of gave her the first these 2 points for nothing, Jabeur, but now will she force Emma to work for it a bit more? A bit more, for sure. But I think the slice is out. Jabeur challenging it. I don't think it will be successful. Yes, indeed, it's out. My eye so far today has been 100%. Haven't missed one yet. Unlike Jabeur, who actually won a pretty important point on the challenge earlier, but after that has been a little more spotty with it. Not that it's one of the most important parts of the game, definitely not. But yeah, that's a bit of a sloppy 4 points from Jabeur here. The forehand cross here as well. Yeah, it's just a lot of errors right now, despite going, 30 love up on the Raducanu serve and just on the verge, let's say, of securing a break and a set and a break advantage. As we know, the WTA stats can be very irrelevant, but very misleading. But Jabeur is 18-5 in that first set when it comes to winners unforced errors, and Raducanu was 6-7. Of course, if we take the aces away from Jabeur, then it becomes a more, let's say, more realistic 11-5 display, which I think might actually be right. These stats don't look too bad. Although 5 unforced errors from Jabeur only in the first set, I feel like that could have been a bit more. Well, she's definitely fired at least 3 in the second set already, despite it having just 7 points, and that last shot was also included in that group, I would say. Raducanu tries to lob her now. She should put it away, though. Yeah, it was way too short. Basically bounced more or less, yeah, like not even near the service line, so. Ooh, yeah, that was at first it was more like some of these points from the opening set, right? When Raducanu thinks that she has hit a deep backhand return, but actually Ons just takes over from that point. Like literally that ball, she just takes it early anyway, and she manages to steal the point. And well, she kind of did, except she missed the kill shot. She missed the forehand cross. And she does have some issues closing out the next rally as well. Raducanu not finding the finishing forehand pass, but it wasn't that clean from Ons, let's say. But anyway, she is at 30 all now. Definitely looking a bit patchy the last, let's say, 6 points or so. So this would be a good, let's say, even 8 points. This would be a good opportunity for Raducanu to attack her in some way, but it looks like she might be unable to do that. And that's one game all. Pretty similarly, like Raducanu tries to hit this deep backhand return. However, she does not get enough on it. And like the moment when she's still recovering, Jabeur is already hitting a winner past her, She still hasn't recovered from that backhand return that she steps into, and by that time, Jabeur is already there with a forehand winner. So yeah, it's not easy for Emma to take over here. Definitely not. Mostly because of Jabeur's hand skills and how early she can take it. That's a bit of a Daniel Medvedev 5-all in the tiebreak return, if you remember that, against Alexander Zverev from Jabeur. It's kind of a return drop shot winner, but even she shows to her team, which part of the racket she hit it with, and it's very close to the handle. Let me call it that. And is she gonna win the point? That will be pretty sensational. But no, actually, she doesn't. She invites Emma in with this drop shot slide slash short slice. I think it was a drop shot actually. It kind of wasn't good enough. But then that nice pickup was actually really good, like with her back against the net. But Raducanu finds the backhand overhead. It's 15-0. This would have been a pretty funny point though if she won it. Again, tries to go for a backhand drop shot, but it's middle of the net. This time, some better defensive footwork from Raducanu as well. I think especially her anticipation was really good. The moment Jabeur was hitting that forehand down the line, Raducanu was already in that corner, which I guess is fair because it was that sort of ball where you definitely felt like, okay, Ons is going down the line with it. But yeah, the anticipation, the way she was able to get in position early, helped her withstand the power of that. Well, she definitely didn't manage to do a great job here though, and it's 30-all. On's resetting with the backhand slice, goes forehand down the line, and she should be in control. Yeah, the backhand drop shot this time doesn't fail her. It's a bit of a stab-ish motion now. Also, she was very close to the net. I think that's one where she felt a lot more comfortable than on the previous one. I was a bit scared actually when she hit it. Like it did look like it might be short enough that it might actually hit the net, but eventually she lands it, and it's a breakpoint for Jabeur. She didn't get it in the first game despite being 30 love up, but she does get it now. It's a second serve as well for her to potentially attack. But no, another good kill from Raducanu on forehand slicing that return, and just instantly Emma fires a nice forehand inside out angle. Trading forehands cross again, Raducanu switching to down the line and winning the point because of it on that forehand drive. So a couple of really nice combos here after falling breakpoint down. Emma is like, Damien has to be joined by Nick. We have to see Nick on Talking Tennis. I have to get this to a third set. And she is definitely quite determined to do it, but we'll see if that will be enough. As this time her defensive game does not really hold up. The first big counter from Jabeur, and she's already looking a bit out of balance on that backhand slice. Yeah, that's not gonna be good enough. Yeah, she's approaching on the backhand drive volley, but Jabeur takes it with a very nice banana pass. Just squeezing it into the line. It's a bit of a classic WTA play from Raducanu because we often see players just going for that backhand drive right on the first shot, unwilling to like take a regular volley or to let it bounce, which sometimes results in a good point, sure, but it's also quite tough to get good placement on it, and she paid for that big time here. Jabeur going for another backhand cross drop shot. I don't know that actually was a good play. I mean, Raducanu was already so close to the net by the time it was around that range, but maybe she would have gotten her uncomfortable at least. Anyway, it hits the net, so all that talk can really be made redundant. And as another breakpoint has been saved by Raducanu, although in this case it was a bit like a wasted chance for Jabeur. She gets herself another one though. Again, so deep at the forehand corner, and once again in that same direction. Third breakpoint of the game already. And this time the forehand slice return does make Raducanu a little bit out of her own comfort zone. She misses the password shot. And I hear some noise background, which is Nick joining. Nick, you were
Hello.
very sad. That's what John said.
Well, I mean, look, the first set took long enough that I only had to miss the first couple of games of the second. So I literally finished my job 5 minutes ago. And well, I thought I'd keep you company watching this match. I will say I've been sat in the background listening, and you are a fair bit ahead of me. So we'll keep you commentating. But
no, I mean, I have another stream. I'll check if
no,
that.
it's fine. I don't mind you being ahead. But
I don't mind being, a little further behind along with you. Like, I don't think it matters all that much. Of course, a duo commentary like very much changes the style of it. So
it does. It does. But I don't mind being the one who kind of reacts and kind of we'll put an opinion after he's seen what's happened. But
how much have you watched actually?
So the match. So I've only been able to watch it on like a small screen, whilst working. So I've not been able to give it 100% attention. What I have noticed is, for what I've noticed, I really enjoyed the points I've been watching. Really nice tennis from both. There's definitely. I unfortunately I've not been able to pay enough attention to be exactly sure of what the difference between them has been in this match. But I think from looking at that point, it's just Ons probably has to have a little bit more to kind of a little bit more on her shots, probably breaking down a little bit less. But I was very impressed with Raducanu's attempt at a comeback at the end of the first set. I caught that. But yeah, I've just been enjoying the rallies between them, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been like a bit like two different matches, since up until 5-2, and then that comeback attempt, which eventually maybe just gave her a bit more of a confidence boost rather than actually something in terms of the set. But yeah, I think that was that kind of shifted the match around for sure. Before that, it was just like Jabeur really dominating the short rallies on both serve and return, but now Emma is actually fighting back. I don't know if it will result in much since she's already a set and a breakdown. And I mean, in like a minute, then probably you're going to see a pretty sensational backhand volley from Ons. But yeah, I think she did definitely do pretty well to like stick around and actually start threatening Jabeur a little bit. But the performance on serve for me has been like a huge difference maker. And just how easy it is for Ons to take over, and also just the overall hand skills and like how early she can take the +1 shot even when she's pressured. You know, Emma is hitting a deep return at her, and she's still the one in control. And yeah, it's I guess it's tough for Raducanu to like break out of this when Jabeur is playing, you know, her best match of 2024 and her best match of, well, in a long while, let's say.
Yeah, it's not hard for this to be her best match of 2024.
I know, it's just funny,
Like,
but even if you go to like WTA finals, she was pretty off, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is the best. I mean, since Ons looked since Wimbledon. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, especially after the way she lost to Andreeva. So I think it's really, really good that she's kind of firing and producing the kind of tennis that we want to see. Maybe it's because she's not home because she's not in Monastir, but she's in an environment she's probably comfortable in.
Yeah, she does get a lot of support here for sure. You can see a lot of people in the crowd. Yeah, maybe that's also quite nice for her. Of course, she does get a very good hold here to go 3-1 up.
So yeah, so I've got Emma serving first point of.
Well, that's not that much of a difference then. I mean, I've already seen the first point, but it's not that huge then.
Yeah. So there we go. So yeah, it's a double fault.
Yeah.
Not great, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I'm happy to kind of watch and let you know what I think, but not necessarily in real time, sort of react afterwards. But yeah, On's looking. Both of these looking all right. Neither are probably playing the best we've ever seen them play, but I'd say encouraging signs from both for the rest of the year based on this first sort of set and a half. But then again, I am the eternal optimist.
What a sick birdie from Nurlan in the chat. As Terry says that I'm always super ahead with the streaming, and Nurlan says that I'm always ahead of myself.
Wow.
Nurlan really going at me. Huh?
Like, you know.
Nice. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Nurlan's out for you today, Damien.
So John is interviewing Nurlan, apparently. I think Nurlan has to prefer coffee, you know. Turkish coffee is a bit of a thing.
A little bit of a... Raducanu's backhand's gone long over the baseline there, so it's 30-all already, and still pressure on her serve. Yeah, I think definitely so far in 2024, it's the Raducanu serve that's come under probably the most scrutiny. Sort of, she's looking healthier than she's been for a long, long time, and consistently so. And maybe now is the time she's put that backhand into the net. Maybe now we're finally able to fully break down her game. And I don't know what it is, but the serve is the one that's getting asked the most questions of. Yeah,
like it's just not giving her much, you know. It's not that it has been poor or something. It's just not granting her any real advantage compared to Jabeur, especially, who's like fired 7 aces in the first set, for example, right? And definitely got herself out of trouble on a few occasions. And now we're gonna have to see another huge comeback effort from Raducanu as she misses this forehand down the line. So she's 1 for down. I think in the first set she avoided that one. No, did she avoid it? No, she actually didn't, right? She also got broken for 1-4 and double break. And then it was 5-1, and then it was 5-2. And of course, that's when the big effort started. But yeah, I think it was a similar scenario, really. She didn't get broken in the first game here, whereas in the first set she did get broken. But it's a similar story so far. And of course, Jabeur seems to be cruising towards the win. But yeah, she hasn't been getting too much out of that serve. And as you said, I mean, so far, let's say 2023, there was not much of a point in even talking about things like that in Raducanu's game because she just wasn't part of the tour, really. So
yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, for me, like just watching this, it does seem to be that Raducanu seems to be more likely to hit the unforced error so far in this match. Maybe that's what's making the difference. But I thought maybe she could get the upset but that was based on Jabeur not showing up to this match, unfortunately, which, that was probably a big assumption. Who knows? But Jabeur looking good to make a quarter-final against Beatrice Haddad-Maia, which will be quite the rematch, I think. Haddad-Maia has been a thorn in Jabeur's side for a while.
I don't really know their history, to be honest.
Well, they had that French Open quarter-final, but I think their head-to-head is competitive.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Jabeur does lead the head-to-head 2-1, but indeed their last match was quite something, whereas the previous two were extremely easy for Ons. One of them let's say one of them was extremely easy. Last year also in Stuttgart, where she only dropped 3 games. And then there was also an ITF match in 2016, which was a bit of a long time ago. 20-year-old Beatrice Haddad-Maia, 22-year-old Jabeur. But basically, yeah, I forgot about that French Open even. So that kind of tells you how much I think about the WTA.
Based on that, you would put Ons, if she's playing like this, as the favourite. She's going to be comfortable, crowd advantage. Haddad-Maia just played another marathon, although that seems to fire her up when she plays
little
marathon.
Favorite, yeah. Also, she will get the day off, right? So that marathon is not going to be that important.
Yeah, I mean that was look, that was an interesting. I don't know if you sort of caught that match, but
a bit of that.
It was Haddad-Maia grind fest, but I think that's the best match I've seen from Linette for a while. In that she was competing with a top 20 player, which I haven't seen much of that happening since last year's Australian Open.
Yeah, I think she had like a pretty decent match against Azarenka somewhere, maybe at Wimbledon, but yeah, overall, of course, it's been a pretty rough patch. I honestly was not enjoying it too well, but that's like mostly just the way their games matched up against one another, and like how much there was just sort of tactical tennis, if you may, chess tennis. Like it's not really fully tactical. It's just that Linette is not going to generate a lot of pace herself, and like just sort of is content playing that rally. Haddad-Maia probably, like if she starts hitting bigger, then she's gonna like either make errors or even make it easier for Linette. So there's like a lot of grinding slugfest type of tennis. I'm not surprised that some people who love clay courts and the South American circuit really enjoyed that one from reading about it on Twitter, because that was the sort of tennis they were playing. But yeah, I mean, Haddad-Maia is someone who loves these matches, of course, and
it feels like the kind of match that Owen Lewis would love.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally think he would.
Maybe if it was, I'm not sure it was the highest quality grind fest we've ever seen, but it has that. If you like, as you say, the chess tennis, the endurance tennis, it was something for them. This one's not so much that. This one has been a lot about big tennis there. Ons Jabeur stealing that game with a winner, and and now Raducanu is serving at 1-5 down in this second set, trying to avoid triple bagel. Triple break, even, not bagel. The breadstick. And so far, I mean, like, I know I'm a couple of points behind, so I don't necessarily want to talk it through. I can see Jabeur got the first point with an inside-out backhand winner on the return from a very sort of safe second serve by Raducanu. But I'm still like 2 points behind the live score.
Don't worry about it. I mean, we don't have to be scientific about it.
No, but what's the? I guess we got to have some talking points, right?
Yeah.
Nerlan, did I think I don't like putting scores on these things. I thought Raducanu would be the favourite based on Ons's form in Australia. As Ons has just fallen over trying to hit that backhand and missed it, so 30-15. I thought Raducanu would be the favourite. I didn't think she'd crush Jabeur. I don't like putting score predictions out there because really there's not enough data to be that specific. But yeah, I would have been with you. I would have predicted a Raducanu win.
I would have said Raducanu. I actually said at the beginning that she's a slight favorite. Well, 6-2, 6-2, that's a little much. But I did say before the match that she was like the slight favorite to me. I was expecting her to hold up better. Was that mostly based on Ons being a little off
For me,
recently?
yeah.
Probably mostly on that. I don't think they're that much different in terms of power level in general. However,
Do you have match
yeah,
point, Damien?
Huh?
Do you have match point on your screen?
Do I have what?
Match point.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Raducanu has gone out wide, but it looks like it was let. So she's gonna have to. She took the first serve again, and then served up the tee. Ons gets the inside forehand return in play. Hits it nice and flat, trading forehands at the minute. That forehand was just too good from Jabeur. Hits it for the winner, gets the match 6-4, 6-1.
Yeah, it's the usual classic of me on Talking Tennis. When I start a match that seems very close, it should be a big battle, and then it's over in 60, 70 minutes. Well, that's the case. And
20-minute cameo from
terrible against Andreeva, which is true, but I mean, she wasn't gonna play like that every single match of the year, right?
No, nobody plays that bad all the time. I don't think, and I'm not entirely sure. I mean, like, she was making a lot of errors against Andreeva, but I do think Andreeva was frustrating her as well.
Yeah, opening set for sure. Yeah, I think Mirka started with some very good, let's say, varied defensive effort. The way she was just winning all these like high octane rallies and suddenly finding a winner at the end as well. And yeah, it was a bit of a, well, as usual in tennis. One player performs extremely well, one player is kind of awful. In the end, of course, it was a very short, very easy win for her. Kind of like this one. Like, other than that comeback effort at the end of the first set, that wasn't too much to talk about, really.
No, I would agree with that. It wasn't a match that I thought it would be a slightly more competitive than that. But hey, we still had some good fun rallies. I still think, Raducanu will be happy with the way she kind of came back at the end of that first set. She's just got to go away, tweak some things, and I think she could be competitive. She should be competitive with the sort of top 20, top 30 fairly soon. I don't know what her schedule is. In the immediate future, I'm assuming she's heading towards the Sunshine Double. But I think if she's Abu Dhabi, she'll also want to be playing that Middle East Double. Ons looking good in Abu Dhabi, definitely a title contender here. Although, having said that, it's all going to come down to, I think probably who wins it is going to come down to how Elena Rybakina is, and she's got her open against Danielle Collins tomorrow.
Right, she hasn't played yet. I haven't actually even looked at the draw too much, so I wasn't even, too familiar with it, frankly. But yeah, Rybakina, a player who hasn't played yet, and I guess these two have to be perceived the main favorites. I mean, Krejcikova, Sakari is out as the third seed. Krejcikova as the fourth seed. She's not, all that dangerous, it seems. So I would say Rybakina, Jabeur, there's a pretty clear lead for these two. And of course, for Ons, maybe we weren't so certain before today, but that was a bit of a display of strength, yeah. Very different opponent coming up for her, but still one where you would feel like, she is at least a slight favorite.
For Ons or Elena?
Yeah, for Ons, I mean. For Rybakina is a bigger favorite than slight, probably.
Against Collins?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's probably a few WTA fans out there who are a little bit stoked for that one. If anything, because they both hit big and they also seem to have opposite personalities.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, the big hitting, is it going to be entertaining? It could be. I think it also could be like a bit too, off rhythm to be enjoyable, but I guess we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it has the potential of being the best WTA match of the day tomorrow. I mean, the only other potential being Krajicova against Sorribes Tormo, depending on if you like Sorribes Tormo's style of tennis. And Kalinina against Samsonova would only be interesting. Is only going to be interesting if Kalinina shows up. Really, which she could, but she's been very patchy since that Rome final last year.
Oh yeah. Even the Australian Open was pretty horrible for her as well. Samsonova also hasn't started the year too well, so I guess it's I guess she just got her first win right here. She didn't win a match in January, and now she got one actually in 50 something minutes against Lesia Tsurenko, who seems to be getting a lot of blowout losses.
Yes, I don't know. Tsurenko doesn't seem to be much form at the minute. But I'd say looking at that section, like it would be a surprise if the semi-finals wasn't Raducanu versus Krajicova. This half of the draw with Ons, it's a little bit more competitive. Obviously, Ons should be the favourite against Haddad Maia. Kasatkina, Castella, that one could go either way.
Yeah, that one is definitely quite even. Krajicova in the semis, I'm also not like penciling her in yet.
Look, would you say she's the favourite against Sorribes Tormo?
Yeah.
And I'd put her as the favourite against either Kalinina or Samsonova.
I guess Samsonova maybe not, if Samsonova is playing well. I think Samsonova is the defending runner-up as well, right? Didn't she have 3 match points against Bencic? Yeah. So maybe there's something in it. I would also have to say that Tsurenko losing in 55 minutes doesn't mean she's out of form. That's just the type of quality that she represents. When she is playing some lower-ranked opponents, she's still holding up fine.
Okay. Well, maybe so. But if Samsonova is actually playing well, she should make the final, because even if she's playing Raducanu in the semis, she seems to have a nice matchup with Raducanu for some reason. So that would be... that would be a favourable draw for her to reach the final for Samsonova.
Yeah, and also the Brits in that event still up. I mean, Heather Watson still involved in it. So Emma Raducanu was not the last Brit to lose. So it's
a nice run from Heather. She's performing really, really well. I haven't seen her playing this kind of level for a year or so. So it's really good to see, and she's got a good chance against Buxer, who's a lucky loser, to make quarterfinals of a 500, which, hey, brilliant job from Heather. About on par with her sort of Grand Slam level. I think we've kind of done a little bit of a nice quarterfinal preview. Wasn't a lot to talk about from the match today that we haven't already covered. So probably time to wrap it up, maybe. I know my stream's about to change over to Bautista Agut versus Khachanov. Not by my choice, just because that's what the broadcast is choosing.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be... Well, Khachanov, Bautista Agut, I don't know if I'm going to be watching that. That seems like an easy win for Karen, given like the... let's say the physicality that Bautista Agut has kind of dropped off, but definitely there's going to be a lot of action in Dallas or Cordoba that I will want to catch later today. And I think we can definitely wrap it up here. Not much to say other than that Jabeur was really dominant on serve and basically just the match wasn't even too competitive outside of that first set comeback effort. Still, like it's not necessarily that any horrible news for Raducanu. Like, we're probably not at that moment when we feel like, okay, she has to be threatening in matches like this. But if she remains healthy, it will be coming. Like in 2 months, let's say, we will be at that moment, where we'll be like, okay, now we need actually results. Not only getting more playtime, but now we need results. But it's not that moment yet. Let's give her a bit more freedom to sort of just play her way into the season. Ons Jabeur definitely did today. And it seems like she has gotten some good practices since the Australian Open as well. So anyway, thank you, Nick, for joining me for the last 20 minutes. And I guess as usual, thank you guys in the chat. And it was pretty fun to talk about this short, if not pretty high quality match.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Wish it was longer. Thanks, Damien.
See ya.